I'm in MREA today, guys. I'm between pages 89 and 92. And the title of today's conversation is Think Competitively and Strategically. I have three major points for you. Number one, keep score and play to win. Number two, think outside the box. And number three, start where the rules stop. Now, we're going to move through this pretty quickly today because I want to finish with some more conversation on this hurricane and what we can do to help the people, help our family members over on the West Coast. So keep score and play to win. Page 89, Gary Keller says, when I advise real estate agents to think competitively and strategically, I'm really telling them to approach their career the way they do a game. Which works for me because I'm super competitive and I love competition. Anything involving competition, I'm in. And I would turn my real estate office into a scoreboard and I would have whiteboards everywhere because I'm going to track everything and I'm keeping score and I'm playing to win. And I'm just going to share with you a couple scoreboards that we used on the Dietz team that I would encourage you to use as well. All right, so first of all, track calls, contacts, and appointments. Really super simple. All you're going to do is every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're taking Sunday off or you're taking Saturday off, but you're taking one of those days off to observe the Sabbath. And how many calls are you going to make? Or how many calls did you make that day? So on Monday, let's say I made 60 calls and I talked to 15 people and I scheduled one appointment. Okay, cool. On Tuesday, I made 80 outgoing calls. I talked to 12 people and I didn't schedule any appointments. Okay, it's just a number. Track your numbers. Now, the next scoreboard that I would keep, like I said, I'm going to work through these quickly, guys. The next scoreboard that I would keep is my goals. How many listings do I want to take? How many deals do I want to close? So just for example, I want to take 36 listings and I want 48 closings. So how am I doing in the month that I'm in? So in September, listings, pendings, closings, I had 3 listings, 4 pendings, and 3 closed. Cool. Year to date, I had 24 listings, 36 pendings, and 28 closings. Okay, great. It's a scoreboard. I know how I'm doing. I know how I'm doing towards track, and I know where the gaps are so I can fill those gaps. The next scoreboard that I would keep is my listing standard. Now, this was taught to me years ago by John Prescott when he was my MAPS coach. And the question he gave me was, how many listings do you need? Active listings, guys. How many active listings do you need at all times in order to hit your goals? Now, we figured out what that number was. And then he said, I want you to create a whiteboard and I want you to number it 1 through 15. If that's your standard. If your standard is 20, then obviously make it 1 through 20. If it's 50, then make it 1 through 50. And then all you're going to do every time you take a new listing is you're going to write that listing on the board. Now, when that listing goes pending, it comes off the board. And closes, it comes off the board. You write another listing in there. Now, if I have 8 listings, and my standard is 15, then the gap is 7. So if somebody were to ask me, John, what's your listing goal for the month? It's 7, because that's the gap. Now, if the gap is 10, my listing goal is 10. If the gap is 5, then my listing goal is 5. Whatever the gap is, that's the goal. The other scoreboard that I would encourage you to keep, and this is something that worked really, really well for us on the Dietz team, and I made sure that all of our agents were doing this because as I walked around the office and I talked to those agents, this board was sitting by their desk. And this was super important. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. This is your potential income board. On the left-hand side, you've got listings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've got potential GCI. So let's say 123 Main Street is listed for $500,000 with a 3% commission My potential GCI is 15K. I've got Mr. and Mrs. Smith who are looking to purchase a new home. They're buying up to 600,000, and I have a potential income here of 18,000. And then I'm going to fill in the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, and so on and so on. And then what that's going to do is it's going to give me an opportunity to total the potential income I have on the listing side and to total the potential income that I have on the buyer side. And whenever I had an agent who was in a slump, it had gone a couple of days without any success, I would always point to this board and would say, talk to me about your potential income on the listing side. Talk to me about your potential income on the buyer side. And then I would say, you know, Shane, what I'm seeing, Shane was one of my agents, what I'm seeing is you have a potential income of $78,000. You just got to get these listings sold, these buyers under contract and closed, and there's $78,000 that's living on your scoreboard right now. We need to get that $78,000 off your scoreboard and in your bank account. So let's talk about the obstacles, what's stopping us from doing that. And it would change their paradigm. Rather than coming from a place of, I'm in a slump, their mindset would change to, holy cow, I've got all this amazing opportunity. I just need to get these properties under contract. All right, goal boards and scoreboards. All right, major point number 2, think outside the box. Page 91 of the MREA, page 91 of Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary Keller says strategic thinkers are exercising their creativity and living outside their limitations. Strategies are often found in the gray areas in between the rules. So I've got 6 ideas for you that are thinking outside the box. Number 1, pick 5 expired listings every day and go knock on their door. Pick 5 expired listings every single day and go knock on their door. Worried about the do not call list? No worries. Go knock on the door. Can't find a phone number? No worries. Go knock on the door. 5 a day is 25 a week, 100 a month, and 300 in the next 90 days. If you do this, you're going to get listings, I promise you. Strategy number 2, copy and paste a text message to the listing agent of 5 expired listings every day. Now, here's what I want you to say. You're sending this message to a listing agent who had the property that just came off the market. And the message simply says, one of your listings recently came off the market. If you're planning on relisting the property, please ignore my message. However, if you're not going to relist the property, I would gladly pay you a 25% referral fee for the owner's contact information. That's it. Now, ignore the negative responses because you're going to get them. Pay attention to the people who respond back to you. Sure, what a great idea. I'd be glad to do this. Here's their contact information, blah, blah, blah. Now, you're simply going to sign a referral agreement with them that says you're going to pay them a 25% referral fee when that property closes. So you don't owe them any money unless you list the property and it closes. And I know every single one of you would gladly pay 25% referral fee all day long to go get a listing. And I promise you this will work. How do I know it'll work? Because I did it and it worked. All right. The third idea that I have for you that's thinking outside the box is email agents with listings that have been on the market for 120 days or more. When you find a listing that's been on the market for more than 120 days, reach out and simply share that if that agent is planning on lowering the price, selling the property, or relisting the property, please ignore your email. However, if there's a possibility that property will not sell, you'll gladly pay them a referral fee if they will turn the listing over to you. Now, let me explain this. If I'm a listing agent and I've got a property that's been on the market for 120 days, first of all, major red flag. In this market, it should have been sold. And if it's not sold, it's probably either priced way too high or there's something wrong with the property. And if it's not sold, that listing agent probably has a seller who has dug in their heels and they're not taking the advice the agent is giving them. And you may have an agent who has given up and realizes they have a seller that's just not going to sell. And they're just waiting for that thing to expire so they can quit making those difficult phone calls to somebody who's not happy. They might be glad to get that off their inventory and hand it over to you for 25%. And even if they're not, what have you lost? You haven't lost anything. And you might get a few listings if you do this. All right, outside the box, number 4. Contact flat fee listing agents and offer to pay them a referral fee of 25%. Let me explain again, because this is really outside the box. There are a handful of agents, they're easy to find, that are taking the majority of those flat fee listings, meaning they'll put the property in the MLS for $200, $300, or whatever the price is. It's usually between $200 and $400. And the property is being sold by owner, but it's in the MLS. The agent's not representing the seller. They just put the property in the MLS. Now, Jack Keller is one of them, by the way. And don't send 100 emails to Jack Keller. I don't want to get in trouble. And I did this. And I would contact Jack Keller and I would say, hey, if you've got any of those people who are selling their home by owner in the MLS and they're talking with you about the possibility of taking it off the MLS with you because they're going to hire an agent to represent them, I would gladly pay you a referral fee if you send those listings my way. And he did. And I got listings. I would encourage you to think outside the box. Outside the box, number 5, guaranteed listings. Find someone who will financially back you. Make sure they have the money to do this. Make sure that they are all in reference to if they have to pull the trigger and actually buy a property, they want to, they're ready, willing, and able, and offer to list someone's home with a guarantee that if it doesn't sell within 60 days, you have an investor that will buy their property, guaranteed, if it doesn't sell within 60 days. Now, parameters. You're not going to list you're going to list the property up to 95% of current market value, and current market value is taken into consideration the repairs and updates that need to be made to the property. And you're going to list the property up to 95% of that amount. And they have to agree on the price, and you have to agree on the price. And if it doesn't sell within 90 days, your investor will buy the property up to their choice. The seller can turn down the offer up to 90% of current market value. That's taken into consideration the repairs that need to be made, the updates that need to be made, minus your fees and closing cost. All right, outside the box, number 6, hassle-free listings. Hassle-free listings simply say, if you hire me, my fee is negotiable based on how your property is sold. If I bring the buyer, my fee is blank. If an agent on my team brings the buyer, my fee is blank. If an agent outside my office and not on my team brings a buyer, then my fee is blank. You can continue to market the property by owner if they're by owner. This works really well with by owners. And if you find a buyer that's not being represented by a realtor, you can cancel our agreement and sell the property on your own. So you don't have to give up selling your home by owner if you hire me. The stipulation is the buyer cannot be represented by a realtor. As long as they're not, you found the buyer and you want to sell the property on your own, you can cancel the agreement and sell the home on your own. My hassle-free listing is also 100% guaranteed, which means at any point, if you're not happy, you can cancel the listing with no fee and no stipulations. So you're not locking them into any long-term agreements. All right, major point number 3, and this is it. Start with a rule, stop. Page 92 of MREA, Gary says, when you go to work to get the most out of your career, you should have the same attitude as when you sit down to play a game. Think competitively and strategically, start where the rules stop, and challenge your competition to catch you if they can. All right, talk to me.